Hey guys, so we got a sunny day. If you saw my little short clip from yesterday, it snowed. It accumulated and it melted by the end of the day. It was warmer at the end of the day than it was during the most of the day. So we have beautiful weather today. We have maybe one or two more cold spells coming, but I'm not worried about it because what I'm planting today is my salad bed. We have this small spot up here, the front of the garden, that I have, thank you Ramona, that I've always used for my greens. And I've kind of prepped my soil today so I've got a combination of things. I have old cow manure compost from last year that I found, a dry bag. I put that in here. I put compost from my own pile in here. There is dry pine needles and dry leaves in here as well that I just can't ever get rid of no matter what, and I don't mind. And then I dumped a bunch of old potting soil from some indoor houseplants that I have up potted recently, and then a little bit of fresh potting soil from just the remains of a bag, just to beef up the soil, because my beds just get shallow every year. They kind of get like dug out, they get, messed with when I come and I clean up in the spring or at the end of a season and I clean some stuff up. So I try to build them back up. But in particular, the lettuce, I did not do great last year with my greens. Like, my spinach was awful and bitter. My butter lettuce, it grew well, but it got eaten by bugs and I just let the bugs have it. And like I remember I had some kale that only one of my kale plants grew, and it was this purple kale variety that is, while it's very pretty, kind of a softer green, like a sage green leaf with like a little bit of light purple, like a lavender color. Gorgeous kale, but not very tasty. Like, I didn't like it very much. I like the blue dwarf, I think is what it is. It's your standard blue kale. Like, I hate that dinosaur kale, but that stuff, oh my gosh, that stuff would grow like a dandelion here. I did that one year, my first year, just like accidentally grabbed a plant. I think I thought it was a Brussels sprout, and it turned out to be the dinosaur kale, and like, oh man, it did so good. But I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan of the dinosaur kale. It's not worth it to me. I like the two varieties of kale that I would love to grow an abundance of. And I do okay with my greens, but it's something that we always end up buying throughout the year no matter what. Even in the summertime, it's something we still have to purchase if I want it, because there's just never enough. So I'm gonna try today. I've got more seeds. I'm gonna plant more. I think that might help too. So I'm just gonna try to plant more of it, and I'm gonna try to overseed even. And I think that this just like combination of compost and different types of potting soils that I have here, and the fact that I filled it. It's several inches of fresher soil, so I think it'll help, and I think this will be good. And we shouldn't, the ground's not gonna refreeze, and it is recommended to, these are like kind of cold hardy things. They do prefer a little bit colder soil. A lot of these things are something that I think most people with their spinach and kale seeds, I've heard, usually do the you put it in the freezer first, right, before you sow the seeds. And I'm just gonna cut that part out. We have 2 more cold spells coming, and it's gonna frost but not freeze, and I think it'll do it. So let's go. I had to get the littlest one down. She was just all over me. It made it so hard to film. So you guys missed a little bit here, but basically what I did is I kind of just, it's not gonna stay. This is just temporary, but I ripped this off because I have a small pest problem, i.e. my cat. Our Torty, our girl cat, does not like to go in any of our 4 litter boxes. So she comes outside and she likes to use my garden, even though she has a designated spot on one side of the yard, which she also uses. But when there's nothing in the garden and it's just like, it's just plain, it's just dirt and it's open, she makes me crazy because she comes in here and uses it. So I ripped it off. And then I also, which I did not get to film, planted my city box here, which don't ask me where it's from or who makes it. I've had it for 10 years. I bought it on Amazon. I could look for the link, but it probably wouldn't be available anyway. So it's basically like, it's kind of got this platform inside with holes, so it's self-watering. Although I just realized one of the kids took my rainwater tube. There's like a rainwater tube that comes in here and it catches water, but for the most part, it catches enough water anyway. Nice. One of the kids. So there's a little tube that goes here in the corner. One of the kids must have taken that. But I planted some of my tea herbs, and as well as just my household herbs that I like to use a lot because I am entirely out. All of my herbs finally died off this winter. I had none inside. I had this rosemary bush that I had given to my mother years ago. She somehow kept it alive, transplanting it from the garden to this clay planter in the house in the winter. And it was like this huge bush, and I don't know, it just finally died this winter, she said. I don't know what happened. But anyway, so I think I did some rosemary in one corner, sage in another, lavender and chamomile, because those are just what we use the most. I like to make I'd like to try to make a little dry sage bundle, but mostly I just use it for cooking. And chamomile and lavender, my kids have been dying to try to grow for tea. So far we've just had it growing in some garden beds as for pollination, and we've never done anything with it. And my 5-year-old found out that we can eat a lot of things that are also very pretty. So we're growing a lot of different flowers this year. So I've got this, and I honestly, I put this over this weird spot in my garden because we have electrical work under here. This used to be a deck with a hot tub. And we didn't take that out because it's thousands of dollars of electrical wiring. And who knows, maybe the next homeowners will want to put a hot tub in again. I don't know. But it's hooked to the house. We recently had my father-in-law come and make sure that it's not hot, but I cover that spot up because I can't plant there. So I've covered it with this since my chair got rotten. And we'll see how that goes. I'm actually later tonight probably gonna move this into the greenhouse. But for now, this is my little salad bed. I've got a lettuce mix a lettuce mix and spinach, and then 2 different types of kale. There's a red Russian and then my blue dwarf. I see those birds I'm gonna come eat your seeds. No, please don't. And that's what we've got for today. My carrots are still over there. My green beans are still here. Gosh, I think, who the heck knows. And the big thing, I posted a short earlier, but I found out online about this crazy amazing resource at your local library. Most of our local libraries, turns out, have a seed bank. You can go for free, take seeds. You have no obligation to return more. It's not always easy as you might think to save seeds properly. So you're not actually under any obligation to return seeds for saving also. But you can go and you can take, it might be different everywhere, but at my library, they told me I could take 10 seed packets a day, 10 different things. So I went with the kids today and we did that for a lot of our flowering plants. And what your library is going to have if they have this, if they have their seed bank, is heirloom seeds. So just your basics, a couple different varieties of tomatoes. Usually they'll have your basic winter squash, zucchini. They'll have your Waltham butternuts. What else? All of your, just the basics that everybody grows. Your beefsteak tomatoes. I think like everybody's got the beefsteak tomatoes is your basic. And then native plants. So when you're looking at herbs and you're looking at flowers, wildflowers, things to draw out pollinators, they are going to have just all of the native plants that you want that are going to be the best to pair with what you've got and draw the pollinators that you need. And that being said, because they do only let you take a certain amount each day, like my library lets us take 10. So I went online and I tried to make a game plan because I didn't know the formatting. I didn't know if it was like I'm going to rifle through a Rolodex of seeds, or if I'm just going to hand somebody a list of what I want and they'll give me that if they have it. You don't know what you're dealing with. My library had like a nice binder with pictures, names of plants, and like told when you are to plant them. A nice little index with like a number next to it, and the girl had me write down the numbers of the 10 things I wanted. I gave it to her. She went in the back and she brought me 10 of these cute little envelopes. As you can see, it tells you what it is, what number it was. It tells you it's an annual. It tells you how big it gets. It tells you, like how to plant it, i.e. the depth and the spacing and everything. It's backwards. I love it. But I get 10 of these little packets, and they're full of seeds. There's a good amount of seeds. And then there's also a stamp. The date, I think these were packed up February 26, 2020. I'm not worried about that. This is the dwarf kale. I did not put this kale in that bed because I was going to plant this one in some other planters and use this one as one that I would share with other people who, wanted some kale, because this was our local variety from, I think it tells me online in the index, because I tried to make a game plan and know what the numbers were, which they did not match up when I went there. That's fine. Their index was fine. And it also, in the binder, their index that they had was not nearly as extensive as the one that I found online, which was a little disappointing, but expected. Let's see. What did I have? Oh, that's right. The kale. Your standard is like the blue kale. It's alphabetical order. Just the kale, number 116. It does match up. It's just, it says it's just provided by Niles District Library. So I'm not sure what that means. But, for example, there's other things on here, like, say, if I had gotten a Black-Eyed Susans, which I might have, is from Three Sisters Seed Box. I have no clue about Three Sisters Seed Box, but I'm probably going to do a little bit of research on them. And then the other one on here is Fernwood Botanical Garden, which I do know what that is. It's a local botanical garden. I don't know. I guess the only time I've ever been there was for field trips when I was a kid, but there is local places that provides the library, the seed bank, with seeds. So it's not required of you if you take seeds. It's not required to bring any back for the most part. Your library might be different. Definitely call and ask or go in and ask. But this was a really awesome resource that I found because, to be perfectly honest, seeds can be really expensive, and like Starter plants are way more expensive. Definitely, if you have the time and the means, and you can at least try, even if you start late in the season, because that's the other thing that I've found. Here in Michigan, this zone is forgiving. This zone is forgiving. You can get lucky a lot. We have got pretty good summers and very rich soil. So even if you start something a little bit later in the season, just to be safe of the frost, because you're sowing that seed directly in the ground. I have harvested stuff late into September and August, and even your salad greens and things like Brussels sprouts and broccoli and your broccoli rabe, I don't even know, broccoli rabe. Oh gosh, thanks, The Office. All of those green cruciferous, I think that's the right word, vegetables are cold hardy anyway, and your root vegetables are pretty cold hardy anyway. So if you're gonna, why not take the risk? Why not take the risk on the free seeds? You can go to your local library. You can collect them all. 10 seeds a day. 10 seeds a day. We're gonna go back tomorrow and get tomatoes that I don't need.